So I'll quickly, I think, correct you. Let's not think of this as an empire. I think I particularly don't think of myself as a king.
Hi, welcome to the episode of Heroes of Socrati. Today is a special episode, and we have with us the CEO of Socrati, Mr. Anubhav. And welcome to this episode with Manoj Banjari. Let's take over to Anubhav.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So, what we are going to have investing time is understand from experience of Anubhav is few candid queries about during the life at pandemic and at Socrati. So, Anubhav, what we would like to know from you is that Socrati is such a fast-paced growing organization, and we really have zoomed in the last couple of years, and we were very good in this pandemic also. So, what we want to understand from you is what is this mantra of success at Socrati?
So I think it's actually very simple. See, I think there are three elements or three sort of parties to creating success. There is we are a people business, so
Sure.
there is the people.
Correct.
There is the entity which we are solving for, which is the client, and then there is the organization.
Absolutely.
Now, from a client customer standpoint, it is very like we need to put him at the center of everything. So I think it's been spoken about multiple times, customer centricity, etc., etc. But I think I spent my formative years at Amazon, and I think there is no other company in the world today that embodies sort of a customer first approach.
Absolutely.
I think that's really kind of the key from a value standpoint, right? Like, so value creation for our customer is comes first, right? Like, so I think I keep saying this basically, that if you solve your customer's problems and if you continue worrying about solving his problems, I think business will follow. So I think that's one simplicity that I think we brought to the table, is that everything that we do, basically, I think one of the mantras that we had is every dollar we spent on behalf of a customer should be spent as if it's spent from our pocket.
Wow.
And that's as honest you could be with customer centricity. But I think that's at the heart of, I think, why Socrati overall is successful. I think now going at it from a sort of the Socratian's lens, basically, I think is to I think we are clear that I think people need to have two things at their heart, basically. One is, I think, curiosity and a learning spirit. And I say curiosity and a learning spirit because the world of the internet has become extremely innovation driven, right? It's insanely fast paced, so you need to learn every single day. And in most times, by the time you're learning, actually things are getting older.
Absolutely.
So you need to be super fast, super innovation driven, and for that, I think the only way to make it happen is you have to focus and continue working at it, right, and working hard at it. So I think if you do these two things, my sense is everything else falls into place. I think from a company's standpoint, I think the company's responsibility, basically, or say my responsibility, basically becomes is to figure out organizational structures which empower people to be able to do these things, right? So we have to provide them the freedom and the liberty while we create control, right, so that it can happen in a bit of a structured way. So I think sometimes it's a tightrope to walk between creating structures which create sort of a role for creativity.
Absolutely.
Versus creating structures which create control and almost pull a rein on tighten the rein on people. So it's a bit of a tightrope. Yeah, it's a bit of a tightrope to walk. But I think really, I think that's what it boils down to, right? And I think I mean, to be very honest, like, this is what it is, but I think we still struggle through it. Like, so we have to learn, right? So we are all learning. I mean, I think I started this company when I was 27, 28 years old, and I think anything I've done is on the back of learning. So I mean, it's not like I was neither born with it, nor did I learn it in my, I mean, some of, say, digital marketing I did learn at Amazon, but I think beyond the functional skills, I mean, I had zero skills in actually managing people or running a company. And I mean, I think we've just learned it through. and I think that's the spirit that helps you succeed. I mean, at Socrates and even outside. Like I don't think this is about Socrates. I think really that's the spirit that will help you succeed in today's world.
I think that's very interesting, and in a very humble way, Anubhav has put that everything has been about learning. And the good part which I see for us is the couple of very hard-hitting facts which Anubhav has said is that every dollar which we spend for our customer is visualize it from our pocket. I think that summarizes a lot about the passion of the organization. I think that was highly informative. What I'm going to do now is the last 10 months was chaotic worldwide. I think nobody in the last century envisaged such a kind of a thing. I think none of us have experienced such kind of a catastrophe to articulate. Anubhav, from the place where you sit, it must have been really such a large organization, or like it is an empire, which suddenly the pandemic and everything was like, could be going south. What do you think is the learning which for all of us is from this pandemic? What according to you is the learning?
So I'll quickly, I think, correct you. Let's not think of this as an empire. I think I particularly don't think of myself as a king.
Okay. Sure.
So I think that's important. But I think, I mean, see, honestly, it's obvious, I think, when you look backwards. But I mean, I think the only thing that it teaches you is shit happens.
Right. Absolutely.
Life is uncertain. It's going to be uncertain all the time. And you can expect change and sometimes not positive change, right?
True.
So I think that's what happened right now. I think what's critical is not what happens. I think critical is what's your response to it. So I think for us, I mean, honestly, I think it was I think the first few days, I would say, was confusing, right? Because it was extremely uncertain. Like, I think none of us knew how long it would last. We didn't know if which direction should we go in, etc. Right? Like, we really didn't have a clue of what would happen tomorrow. So I think it was I think we were genuinely staring at a situation for the first time where after doing everything right, we could have just been wiped out, right? Like it was that brutal, right? And I think the most important thing in some ways was accepting it, right? I think it is critical because you can spend time in self-doubt, but I don't think that helps. So I think accepting it was critical. And then, as I always say, I think the next step to accepting anything is to get busy solving. So I think, I think solving for the problem, understanding that there is a problem or there is a challenge, and then kind of getting to solving for it. You may not have all the answers, but sometimes, and especially in today's world where we can, correct things or correct mistakes we have done quickly. It was very important for us to get busy solving. Like and as just an example, I think one of the first few things that I think we did post sort of the pandemic hit us is started reorganizing and restructuring the organization. We and I know it was a bit of an unpopular decision, but we moved people, I think, to a part of the business where we were still hoping for some growth. We had open headcount. We were expecting it would be less impacted, yes. And we had to kind of force people into it. And it was a little unpopular, but yeah. I am pretty sure that I'm damn confident it allowed us to save a lot of jobs. So protecting our people, I think, was the first sort of response, right? And that was one way to, I think, protect our people. I think the other thing that we did, again, I don't think necessarily popular, but were taking aggressive cost measures, right? Like, so right from cutting our own salaries to, say, cutting out bonuses to negotiating for renters, I think, or even negotiating like the last dollar in terms of even internet bandwidth, etc. I think we got going pretty quick. Like, I think that's the one good thing about the team is that the team responds to adversity pretty well.
Quickly aligned to
right.
Whatever.
So I think we had to do a bunch of those things, right? Yes. But I think again it allowed us to steady the ship and especially when we knew we were kind of facing very rocky waters. So I think that's what we did, right? I think from a pandemic standpoint, the good thing is that I think that's the other thing that life teaches you, and I know that like bunch of our people are very young, but I think eventually you'll learn that I think the situation is never as positive as it looks when things are good, and it is never as negative as it looks when things are bad. So we as humans, I think, have a tendency to be overly optimistic when things are going good, and we have a tendency of being overly pessimistic of things when things are not going very well for us. So I think if you look at it now, in hindsight, I think we've recovered well. We're doing well. Actually, it's been a positive change for digital companies. So I think business is now kind of starting to come back. I mean, I think, and it's up and running. So I think in all, I think it's pushed more business towards digital. It's been a positive change. I mean, it's certainly not in a way we would have liked, but I mean, we are where we are.
Yeah, true. The interesting part is that some of the organizations worldwide got wiped out, as you rightly said, who could not probably align. Or incidentally for us, we too went through our tough times, and I think the right measures by the leadership team help us set us good to now set us growing up. So I think like the standard situation that happened is like we went through a V-shaped growth in the sense we dipped down and now we are climbing up, and I'm very positive, although you said that we should not be over optimistic in good times, but we are continuing to grow and will continue to grow. What do you think is the key behind this V-shaped kind of growth, and what more are we doing to continue this growth?
No, I think, see, from an economic standpoint, it's very clear. I think it's made people realize the importance of digital. Yes. So obviously, digital-first companies are now going aggressively after growth in business. But if you look at it, the core is that the consumer sentiment has changed to digital. Like they've very quickly realized that there is just a better way of doing things. I mean, digital is a faster, cheaper, more efficient way of doing things than, say, it was in the old world, right? So I think that's the heart of what's changed, right? Like I think the way that consumers behaved has changed, and for us, I think we've just, I mean, in some ways we are lucky and fortunate to have fallen on the right side of that coin toss. Right. So I think really that's what's causing the V-shaped growth. I think that's not the key question to look at and answer in some ways.
Sure.
I think what do we do from here is, I think, what's going to define us.
Yes.
And what I mean to say is that there's going to be growth, right? I think that's almost a given. I mean, unless some other macro event happens differently and that changes the direction of it. But I mean, the growth is almost now crystal clear and anticipated. Right. But are we going to be able to solve our problems and more problems in this new world and continue on high quality execution, right? High quality delivery and continue to solve the new problems that our clients face is what's going to kind of define us and make or break the company, right? Like, so I think, and I think I've said this in, I think, some of my earlier communication, but I do really believe that we are going to, I mean, I honestly, in my heart, I believe we are going to come out on the right side of this, because at the heart of it, we have a team which cares, right? I think the primary is just to really care about a problem itself, right? And I think when you care enough and solve enough, I think you'll get there. So I think personally, I'm confident, but at the same time, I do want to, I think, especially with this message, enlist everybody into looking at it from just a problem-solving approach. Like just solve more problems, solve them faster, figure out ways of doing it more efficiently.
Sure.
Right? Figure out newer ways of doing things. Right? If we send something in a manual way, why can't we automate it? Right? If we if we have to do certain things multiple times, why can't we templatize it? I think things like that is going to be another cornerstone for us to continue innovating on. I mean, I know that we do a bunch of it already, but I think just doing it at an accelerated pace from where we are is going to help us really sort of dominate, right? I mean, we already are dominant, but I think we're going to, like, my feeling is that we are going to continue seeing unprecedented growth, right? And I think our ability to sort of tweak our delivery capabilities in this time frame is going to be critical.
I think that's a big adrenaline boost for all of us, that right from the CEO we are hearing that we are going to continue to grow, and it is inevitable. It's crystal clear as per Anubhav that we are going to grow, but it is not going to be a cakewalk. It's not going to be on platter. We need to be a unified team, and we need to be a problem solver, a consistent problem solver, and to own it up. And how much better we can make it for our customer is what is coming more and more from this, that we should feel proud that we are part of a growing organization which will continue to grow in a very, very clear way. I think very inspiring and very positive for all of us here. Anubhav, now what would be interesting is we did hold on to our hiring for some time because it was part of the measure. It was right thing to do because we had to protect the jobs of the existing, and it was rightly done. In fact, we are one of the very few organizations which actually protected our folks over here, which is a big kind of salute and kudos to the leadership team. The good part is we are also one of the first few organizations who started hiring, and we are hiring in good numbers. What according to you is that, and we are not only hiring in numbers, we are hiring some of the smartest folks from one of the best schools in country. What according to you is that attracts these folks to our organization?
So see again, I think I keep going back to, I think, like simplicity, but I mean, see, at the heart of it, if you think about it, what do people want, right? They want to, and I'm saying from a work life, basically, right? I think they want to work at a place where their career prospects are good. They want to work at a place where they can enjoy the work, right? So I think, like, for example, I feel that and I know this will be very controversial, but I think work-life balance is extremely overrated, right? I think work-life passion is, I think, the right word to sort of think about.
Okay.
So I think if you are passionate about what you do, it's irrelevant as to if it's at the workplace or not. Like, for example, I know that I hop and jump to work every day possible, right? I mean, there are times when I've turned up here on a holiday not knowing it was a holiday because it's just exciting. So I think that's critical, right? Like, and what typically gets in the way, I think sometimes places which are, say, offices are political, I think that's usually a turn off for people. Places where there's no clear direction, right, are typically confusing for people to work at. So I think like at heart of it, like what do we do to solve for some of this is empower people, and I think keep working at clearing this up. Like, not to say that there is no, I mean, I'm sure there is some office politics out here, right? I mean, we're a very large organization now, but how do you minimize it and continue to create focus on solving for the customer is, I think, what people will eventually sort of appreciate, right? And like, we take a lot of pain, I think, when it comes to our hiring. Right, I think, like, if you look at our hiring ratios, they probably are the poorest in the country, and it is because we are very nervous hirers. We are very nervous recruiters because at the heart of it, we want to talent extremely talented people and then keep them happy. And if you end up hiring even, say, a few who are principally unhappy or unsuited to, I think, life here, our environment here, it's just going to have a rub-on effect on rub-off effect on everyone, basically, right? So that's really what we are trying to avoid. I mean, at the end of the day, I think from a people standpoint, it's a good sort of clean place to work. We pay our people well. We don't claim to pay our people the best in the market, but I don't think that we pay them poorly. I think if you look at your career, like if you look at anybody who spent say 4-5 years at Socrates, they're broadly at market rate, right? I mean, maybe at 90-95%, but broadly 95 percentile, but they are broadly at market rate. So we are a decently good paying company.
Oh, yes.
We are a fast growing company which creates a ton of opportunities for people to do stuff they would otherwise not get an opportunity to do. And on top of it, I think we are a innovation-led sort of company where you could just do stuff and hopefully enjoy the process as well. So I think that's really what kind of helps.
Yes, true. I think even as Anubhav mentioned, we are an organization which is young organization. We hire a lot of young top talent. And one of the key which I feel and what I have experienced in my couple of years here is that why the talent gets attracted is there is tremendous empowerment. Anybody has an access to go and talk to any individual here, including to Anubhav and to the other leadership team. People can go and discuss, share, express. I think that is what the young, talented people need. They don't need bureaucracy, they don't need red tape. And each one of you will experience that, and it must be experiencing at your days here at Socrates. You can meet, you can share, you can express. But it is not just at a superficial and talk level. It goes deep, that innovation and ideation is what everybody is passionate about. Because that is what drives, as he mentioned, he almost comes every day or even turns up on a holiday. I think what I have also experienced is you write to folks at all non-social hours, you get responses. I have a lot of young folks who tell that we wrote something at 12 o'clock and we got a response. I think that happens because of passion. So the top talent is hired because there is tremendous passion, empowerment to them, and of course, innovation, ideation, which thrives their energy. Great. I think, Anubhav, that was very nice and a lot of insightful stuff which is there. Any key things which you want to tell to all these young folks who are already here and will be here? What is?
No, I think it's the same things. I think simplify. I think life is too short to create complexity and unnecessary complexity, and be passionate about something and solve for it. I think the world is basically about problem solvers. Like, you have a very short life and you don't want to spend it not solving problems. I think that's the only exciting thing that I see in life. And if you do enough of it, I'm pretty sure people are going to be successful.
Sure. Yeah. Great. I think that was very interesting conversation with Anubhav, and keep watching us on these episodes of Heroes of Socrates, and you too will be soon one of the hero at Socrates. Thanks, Anubhav. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.